own bike shop. This is where I film all of the project use bikes and an opinion and all the other videos that I do. So my setup here is kind of everything necessary to do a full service on every part of the bicycles that I own. With this video, I wanted to show off some of the things that are necessary for most cyclists who want to work on their own bikes, and also some of the cooler things that are specific to the bikes that I have. By the way, you like my kitty cat blanket? Meow. This is a cheap IKEA table, but it functions as my workbench. Obviously I can't do anything really heavy duty on it, like I can never mount a vise on here, but it does pretty good for most of the stuff I need to do. This is just my general pile of stuff that I just drop here because it doesn't really have a specific spot. I think we all have something like this. This is my container of small parts, little nuts and bolts that go specifically with the bikes that I have. Like I said, any kind of service I have to do with them, I probably have a replacement something for it. This is not the most organized small parts kit in the world. For the most part, it's kind of sorted by general tiny brake hardware, general throw stuff in, slightly bigger general throw stuff in, bolts of various sizes, washers of various sizes, axle nuts of various sizes, chainring bolts of various sizes, tubular crank spacers, top hat spacers for tubular cranks, some bearings, some nuts, a top cap, and then again for tubular cranks, bolts. These are pretty straightforward. These are just the same as this, but for bigger parts. So here I have stuff for mountain bike brakes, BMX headset stuff, BMX bottom bracket stuff, random cables and cable related things, actual BMX brakes and some bar plugs, and random chain stuff, both for the mountain bike and for the BMX bike. Moving on to tools, almost all modern bikes use metric Allen keys, so a good quality set of these is really important. Some pedals will come off with Allen keys, but most will require a pedal wrench. It's just a 15mm wrench, but it's lengthened to give you the torque you need. For more high-end or finely tuned bikes, you're going to need a torque wrench so you don't damage anything. It's always important to have a good supply of appropriate greases, lubes, and cleaners for your bike if you're going to keep it properly maintained. It's always fun trying to change tires with your hands alone, but sometimes you just gotta use tire levers. If your bike doesn't have quick release wheels, you're going to need a way to get your wheels off. I use a ratchet. You only really need one, but I love these things, so I've got a bunch of foldable multi-tools from Crank Brothers and Park Tool and Lazine and a few other companies in there as well. It's also important to have the right pliers and cutters for general work on your bike, a pipe cutter for trimming handlebars and seat posts, and inner tubes if you're not running tubeless. Am I the only one who has a pile of parts that are too good to get rid of, but I don't really have a use for them, so they just kind of sit around? As for the decorations, it's all leftovers from Cyclepath, other than the We the People flag from Dan, and the Iron Maiden flag from a concert I went to a few years ago. So down here, these are the last couple things that might be really useful if you want to set up your own home bike shop. This is just some pieces of cast iron welded together to make a bike rack. I have it kind of attached to the bookshelf here, and it does a pretty good job of supporting up to 4 bikes. This is kind of a commercially available version of the same thing. This is about $20 or $25 from most bike shops, and these are just good for a single bike, but they're collapsible and they're pretty lightweight and they're nice and tough, so these are good to have as well. This is probably not something that you're going to be able to find easily unless you either work at a bike shop and borrow one, like I have this one. It's not mine, it is Cyclepath's. But you can find good truing stands like this used on Kijiji or Craigslist or whatever the local used classifieds are for you. And of course, something absolutely necessary for anybody who wants to, not even something for anybody who wants to work on their bikes, something for anybody who wants to own a bike at all. You gotta be able to pump your tires. Having one of these is so critical as a cyclist. So that's what I'm working with, and I'd love some feedback on it. So if this video gave you some ideas, or if you have some tips for me, or even if you've got a video of your own home bike shop that you want me to check out, feel free to leave a comment below. I read every comment I get, as few as those may be. So yeah, if you like this, leave a comment and let me know. Thanks.